Many people have been critical of UWP and Windows 10 ever since it came about how broken UWP actually is, but the most vocal is probably Epic Games' founder Tim Sweeney. Now, he's made some rather interesting and potentially worrying comments in a recent interview with Edge magazine, basically saying how apparently Microsoft is force patching Windows 10 to make Steam progressively worse and buggy. And he also spoke about how Microsoft are locking down, or trying to lock down, the PC ecosystem. Now he said, quote, "There are two programming interfaces for Windows and every app has to choose one of them. Every Steam app, every PC game for the last few decades has used Win32. It's been both responsible for the vibrant software market we have now, but also for malware. Any program can be a virus. Universal Windows Platform is seen as the antidote to that. It's sandbox, much more locked down. The risk here is that if Microsoft convinces everyone to use UWP, then they phase out Win32 apps. If they succeed in doing that, then it's a small leap to forcing all apps and games to be distributed through the Windows Store. Once you reach that point, the PC has become a closed platform. It won't be that one day they flip a switch that will break your Steam library. What they're trying to do is a series of sneaky maneuvers. They make it more and more inconvenient to use the old apps, and simultaneously they try to become the only source for the new ones." Now you might be wondering, quite rightly, well, if Microsoft is really trying to do that and they're really trying to win the battle against Steam, how on earth are they going to do that given that Steam is gargantuan? A lot of people just won't play a game if it's not on Steam. Obviously that attitude is becoming less prevalent, but a lot of people just prefer to use Steam for its ease of use. Obviously it's got really good deals, and most people's games are in that one place. I mean, primarily, most of my games are on Steam. I do have games in other places like GOG and Origin and Uplay as well, but most of them are on Steam, and that's probably the case for most people, so getting people away from Steam is not exactly going to be an easy feat. And here's what Tim had to say on that fact, and he said, quote, "Slowly, over the next 5 years, they will force patch Windows 10 to make Steam progressively worse and more broken. They'll never completely break it, but it will continue to break until, in 5 years, people are so fed up that Steam is buggy that the Windows Store seems like an ideal alternative. That's exactly what they did to their previous competitors in other areas. Now they're doing it to Steam. It's only just starting to become visible. Microsoft might not be competent enough to succeed with their plan, but they are certainly trying." Now obviously this is just Tim talking in his opinion, but of course he is a very knowledgeable man. He's been in this industry a long time. He's obviously a very skilled developer. He obviously knows way more about this than I do, but his concerns have definitely worrying implications if they're true. Now obviously Valve, in this scenario that Tim is painting here is what's going to happen, or what Microsoft is trying to make happen, should I say. Again, just in theory. Valve is hardly going to sit there and let this happen. Now they will either fight against it with their own updates to Steam, or of course they can improve Steam OS, which they would need to do massively. Because the last time I did a real report on Steam OS, it was how it had a significantly lower performance than, I think it was Windows 7 or 10, 7, 8 or 10, I honestly can't remember if it was 8 or 10, but I think it was 10, but regardless it was still a significantly lower performance, and obviously support for SteamOS isn't really there, so they could really push for that to give gamers an alternative to Windows and then not be forced in through that. The only issue with that, of course, is if you have all of Microsoft's AAA games like Gears of War 4, just for example, and Recore and Scalebound and all these other games coming out in the next couple of years, only on Windows 10 and only available for the Windows Store, that's obviously going to stop some people from going over to SteamOS, but it might at least give gamers an alternative to just, dealing with UWP, or don't be a PC gamer anymore, essentially. That's what Valve would probably do, as well as fighting back with Steam updates. Whether or not this will happen, well, we can only remain and wait, unfortunately. I have said before that these accusations that Tim's making about them trying to lock down the PC ecosystem is definitely concerning, because, well, it's because PC is so open that it is the great platform that it is today. So a closed PC ecosystem is not good for anyone on the PC platform. As I said, it's why we've reached the innovations that we have with PC hardware and software. So let's fingers crossed that this future that Tim's painting here doesn't happen, but it very well could, and that we should all just remain vigilant and keep our eyes peeled for anything untoward. So, let me know your thoughts and opinions as always, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.